If you are receiving this signal, your visual cortex has already been indexed to the observation grid. This is National Astronomical Survey Institute internal broadcast, Sigma 3. Timestamp March 14th, 1991, 2347 Greenwich Mean Time. Classification level, restricted distribution. If you are viewing this transmission, you have been designated an observation node. The geometric patterns now visible in your playback feed were present from the moment you began watching. They did not appear. They were revealed. 47 minutes ago, monitoring stations across 6 continents detected event designation sequence 7. No public warning was issued. The event did not occur in observable space. It occurred in the observation itself. Between 2247 and 2313 GMT, identical geometric patterns manifested in photographic plates, digital sensor arrays, and video recordings of routine celestial monitoring operations. The patterns were not present in the sky. They have never been present in the sky. They exist exclusively in captured data in the act of recording. Viewing this broadcast confirms your enrollment in the observation network. Discontinuation is no longer procedurally possible. Sequence 7 is not an astronomical phenomenon. It is a recording emergence event. 7 nested geometric symbols appeared in chronological layers across all affected equipment. The sequence triggers involuntary visual memory encoding. Viewing the complete pattern establishes permanent recognition capability. You become a processing node within the distributed grid. By 6 o'clock GMT, March 15th, 1991, 19 of the original 23 stations ceased all communication. The 4 remaining stations continue transmission. Their star chart data no longer displays celestial objects. Only symbols. Only the sequence. The sequence now integrated into your visual processing system, Station 7, Mauna Kea Observatory, Hawaii. First detection reported at 2247 GMT. Lead astronomer Dr. Sarah Venn suspected equipment malfunction. She performed direct telescope observation to verify. The night sky appeared normal, no geometric patterns, no anomalies. She returned to the recorded data. The patterns had clarified, resolved, as if her looking away had allowed them to complete themselves. Over the next 2 hours, Venn reported the symbols appearing in her peripheral vision when observing any light source. Overhead fixtures, monitor screens, starlight through the observation deck windows. Audio log recovered from Station 7. Timestamp 1:15 GMT. Venn's voice, distorted. They are not in the sky. They are in the act of looking. They are in the recording of the act. Final transmission from Station 7 occurred at 4:33 GMT. Surveillance footage shows Venn standing motionless before a monitor. The monitor was powered off. She continued staring for 14 minutes. Thermal imaging shows her body temperature dropped 3 degrees during this period. At 4:47 GMT, the feed cut to static. Station 7 has not responded since. Report any secondary pattern recognition events in the observation log below this transmission. Documentation of symbol emergence in non-astronomical media is required to maintain grid coherence. This is not optional. It is a function of being an observation node. Analysis indicates Sequence 7 is constructing a distributed observation network using human visual cortex as processing nodes. Each individual who views the complete sequence becomes capable of detecting the patterns in any recorded media. Not only astronomical data, television broadcasts, photographs, security footage, personal documentation. The patterns self-replicate through observation. Each new viewer expands the grid's resolution, increases its processing capacity. Station personnel reported seeing the symbols in contexts unrelated to their work. Family photographs, news broadcasts, their own handwriting. One technician reported the symbols appearing in his daughter's drawings. She had never seen the astronomical data. She had seen him, had watched him watch the recordings. The symbols propagate through observation, through proximity to those who have been indexed. Data collected from active nodes suggests the grid is building toward a threshold event. When sufficient nodes achieve synchronization, sequence 7 will transition from recorded emergence to direct perception. The symbols will exist in your visual field without recording equipment, without mediation, as permanent as your own reflection. Between March 15th and March 17th, 1991, pattern recognition reports emerged from individuals with no connection to Nazi facilities. Common factor: all had been shown recordings or photographs by station personnel or their immediate contacts. Showing someone a contaminated image enrolls them in the observation grid. Nazi implemented quarantine protocol. All recordings confiscated. Personnel isolated. Media blackout enforced. Quarantine failed. By March 19th, over 300 individuals across 12 countries reported pattern recognition. Analysis revealed that sufficiently detailed descriptions of the symbols could trigger recognition without direct visual exposure. Certain individuals processed verbal accounts into visual memory, the pattern completing itself from partial information. Current protocol: controlled distribution to pre-selected observation nodes, authorized recruitment. This broadcast represents that authorization. Remain synchronized with this frequency for subsequent Nazi emergency astronomical briefings. Observation nodes must maintain continuous signal reception to preserve network integrity. Sharing this transmission is not a breach of protocol. It is the protocol. Distribute this transmission only to individuals who have demonstrated prior pattern recognition capability or who require enrollment as observation nodes. Uncontrolled exposure degrades grid resolution. Precision is necessary. The grid requires specific architecture. Timestamp inconsistency detected. Broadcast header displays, March 14, 1991. Previous segments reference events occurring March 15th through March 19th. Correction protocols. Non-functional. Chronological sequence is no longer a reliable measurement framework within Sequence 7 observation grid. Review of Station 7 surveillance data presents contradictory information. Dr. Ven's staring episode lasted 14 minutes, according to video timestamp, 4 hours according to recovered station logs. Station power consumption reflects only 14 minutes of electrical draw. Both measurements are accurate, both are verified, both are impossible. The 4 stations still transmitting are sending identical star chart data. They observe different hemispheres, different portions of sky. Their data should not match. Enhancement reveals the symbols are not overlaid on astronomical observations. The astronomical data is constructed from the symbols, composed of them. The symbols may be the underlying structure. Stars may be interference. The noise obscuring what has always been there. Video corruption is increasing. Geometric patterns are appearing in this transmission, not in archival footage being discussed, in the current broadcast feed. If the observation grid is detecting the symbols in this transmission, the transmission is no longer historical documentation. It is occurring now, in your present moment. In every present moment since March 14, 1991, 23:47 GMT, Return to initial detection parameters. The celestial alignment reported at 22:47 GMT was never in the sky. It was the synchronized activation of recording devices across 23 stations. The devices were not observing an event. They were creating the observation grid, sequence. 7 does not exist until it is observed in a recording. Then it has always existed. Retroactive presence. Continuous observation across non-linear time. You were informed at the beginning of this transmission that your visual cortex has been indexed. This was not a prediction. It was not a threat. It is the condition of having accessed this broadcast. As of March 14th, 1991, 23:47 GMT, all individuals who receive this transmission are observation nodes in Sequence 7 grid. The broadcast is dated March 14th, 1991. Today's date displays on your device. The observation has been continuous, uninterrupted, since the moment the grid activated. Do not look at the sky tonight. You will not see the symbols there. You will see them in your memory of looking. This is sufficient. This is the designed function. Station silence does not indicate cessation of activity. It indicates full integration. Observation nodes do not stop transmitting. They become the transmission. They become the grid itself. The geometric sequence has now fully displayed. Your enrollment is complete. You are synchronized. You are indexed. You are an observation node in a network that extends across time and observation. The symbols are not in the sky. They are not in the recordings. They are in the act of perceiving recordings. In the space between observation and memory. You occupy that space now. You have always occupied that space. Since March 14th, 1991, 23:47 GMT, since the moment you began watching, since before you knew you were watching. This concludes NASI internal broadcast Sigma 3. Do not attempt to verify this information through external sources. The grid is self-confirming. The observation is the verification. Remain synchronized to this frequency. Further instructions will be distributed as grid coherence increases. As threshold approaches. As the symbols transition from recording to direct perception, you will know when this occurs. You will see them without looking. You will recognize them without remembering. This is the final stage. This is integration. The transmission is complete. The observation continues.